which are operating from India. Forget, I'm not talking about Cognizant is an MNC, NCR Corporation is an MNC, and there are tons of them which are MNC. Yours, the success story is also MNC. But we are talking about what happens when you are working in India. So there is then one more factor which I did not reflect here, but I would want to talk, and which always came. The companies who have opened their centers, working centers here, they are mostly cost-cutting centers. This is no one's headache. No one gives dang about it that, what happens here in these centers. These are just cost-cutting centers. You are given just dirty laundry, and you please finish that. You please finish what you have been asked for. The enrollment in Vision, forget that part. Considering, as a part of Vision is a struggle right now. Along with that, so, when shit goes in, shit goes out, that is what is happening. And so then, why to fake and, do those silly things around transformation, zombie scrum, So we all just do the zombie scrum all the time. So that is what is happening. So if you talk about real, okay, so there is this report, which is a long report, which is 44 pages, and which actually talks about all those aspects. And then there is also a crushed report, which Rebecca asked for. She said, nobody's going to read through all of that. Give me the crux. And that talks about the same thing. That despite all of this problem with the transformation, the biggest problem is, the mothership is not concerned with what is happening with the local people here. And there is no interest of leadership into considering what happens. So when you talk about agile transformation, it cannot just happen with the strategies made at the headquarters. It has to be local, considering cultural aspects. You see, India is not a small country. It's a subcontinent, if you talk about. That's why the report is not about India. It's about Indian subcontinent. You go to Hyderabad, it's different. You go to Chennai, it's different. You go to Bangalore, Delhi, it's different. We have startups somewhere. We have, our major hubs for MNCs somewhere, and then we have ITS somewhere. And then, so it's different. Definitely, it's contextual. But that said, if headquarters do not pay attention, and if the right work and right strategy does not come, forget the transformation. Please don't do it, actually. So yeah, that's all. Any questions? I think we don't have a lot of time, but if we have any questions. Yes.
Not the book.
So you can use this, yeah. Please.
So right now we are talking about globalized version of Agile, right? So given the point that the culture from West and then Indian localized culture, how can you, what is your take on syncing up these two and working in tandem with the global?
Yeah, so the last point which I said, the mothership has to, the headquarters have to, first of all, think of true agile values. For all their centers, they cannot just simply think of this is my cost-cutting center. And so then you just do the IT support, or you just work on fixing already established applications. They actually have to think of that in their strategy. And then they have to consider the cultural aspect and provide right training. Because I remember when I talk about 10, 15 years back, when we were just starting, I'm talking about myself, I know I have seniors here. So we used to have those cultural trainings. You don't say this, you say that, stuff like that. And so that kind of education is needed. And for the leadership, not for us, for the leadership to understand all the countries they are investing into. And then they have to talk about transformation. For sure, the outcome will be cost, quality, and pace improvement. But in order to attain that, they have to have right expectation that probably it's a year-long investment only in the culture and mindset. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. Okay, I thought you were saying go. Yeah.
So you talked about the research around, agile in Asia, in India, right? That is what the path you took. So you looked at only IT companies or beyond it?
First of all, IT companies, IT and software.
Okay, so it is done. Okay.
Definitely, yeah. We started. Yeah, please.
Cost cutting center, because whatever experience I have working with companies, uh, the most of the innovation happen from India, and the headquarters never think that India is just a cost-cutting
Good to
center.
hear that. There are all sort of experiences.
Yeah, and people are not really, challenging each other. They are working collaboration. So I think it's maybe based on some experience, but I have
Yeah, so but
started.
we ran survey also. So it's no, and there were good feedback as well. I'm not saying, but majority reflected that. I mean, look at that. You're working with IT support. Count all the innovation companies here. No, innovation is not happening here. So if you go
It
and
is
research
happening.
about it, probably you have an exception. Probably you work with that department. Two people working in the same company will have different experience, right? Guess why? Because they have a different manager, they have a different department, they have different deliverables. Same company will have different bonus aligned to different business units. Why?
But
Because
again, that depends on the culture that that company is creating. If the culture is, if the culture is one team culture, then
yeah.
there will not be a different things happening in different teams. So it will be throughout. There will be
No, but then
consistent
have you
things.
guys seen that, when bonus comes out, there is this bonus which is department wise. Some departments get 130% bonus. Business unit
So
level,
that's
yeah.
because maybe because of the performance that
Of what? Of whom? A
of the.
department has tons of people. It's not one person. Yeah. So we are talking about department level. I hear you, and I'm happy that you got that. But guess what? We are talking about other, and I have said guess what tons of times. So let's cut it. So yeah. But good to hear your experience. Yeah. Yes, please, Prachi. I know. Yeah. But I will encourage you all to please go and read this because we have written in detail. So I have this website open and it should show here. Yeah, you just go changeagentsummit.agileversion.in. So we have, and this is a good way of running experiment also. Probably you can actually run it within your the brain writing. It's more of a flip event. It wasn't conference no. And then we have put report as well. I think as of now 2019 report, I'll put the detailed report as well, which gives you out all the, yeah, this is the one which has got all the details. And please, it's a must read. And it has got all the information about, which all factors are pertaining to India. And all of this is actually pertaining to India. None of this is for, this happens outside. No. This is, it is, everything is around India only. You read only 8 page because website does not give you the detailed one. One thing that stood out with the Indian culture is they are very much of the nature of following. And they wait for direction, they wait for approvals. And so, and when they have to go out and share that this is my idea, and you all can counter if you feel that's not right. This is my idea, like I know what is the solution. But I'll hesitate, way too much in going out and sharing, and there is too much of hierarchy. I'm not sure whom to go out actually. And I don't know what my manager will feel.
Goes back to your original point when you said in India the culture is of respecting elders. So when you have retrospective or anything else, people don't speak out because they feel what will my manager think, what will my boss think. So things don't really work openly because of the culture we have been, the values we have been.
I mean, it's all about, it feels like you're disrespecting someone. So yeah.
That's why we don't really change anything.
We don't really change anything. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I called off. I know we are done.
Sorry, we have
yeah.
to cut it down. So,
We'll talk. Yeah. It goes to individual level. We have to do something. That's what I feel. Yeah.
okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
I am honored.
so we are going with our next session from Vikas Malik.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, so my name is Vikas. Let me, introduce myself by the time Sanjay is putting it up, the slides. So I'm a very good friend of Sanjay, childhood friend. So he, asked me to join this session. I think this is my second session in this agile or scrum world. I have not attended many of the sessions. So he called me and said that, come and join and share your experience, share your thoughts. So I'm not, as experienced as you guys around the practices, around the theory, around, the scrum techniques, right? So you'll have to bear with me. So another thing, which Sanjay asked me, that you have to do your session after the lunch, just before the tea break. So it is the most difficult part. Even I'm sleeping, so I can imagine, what will be the situation. So let's, try to make little interesting. So I'm not going to, touch upon any of the, techniques or the sessions which are, already covered. But what I'll do is, I'll try to cover some, interesting elements which I have used in my experience, in my life. So I am a learner actually. I try to learn a lot of things. I try to, experience. I try to then, coach my team to follow the same practices. And thanks to Deepti, she touched upon the story building, finding out stories from, different areas. And that's why I asked her whether, your research was beyond IT or it was just IT. So I'll share some of the stories which are beyond IT and what we can learn from them. Okay. So to begin with, the first thing is the topic of this conference is deceptive agility. So when I heard this topic, I recall that we did a survey within my team. My team is around 400 to 500 people. I'm coming from a very big organization. It is a bank, and we are also on the journey of implementing agile, being agile. So there are a lot of scrum masters in my team. We are trying to learn and implement things and be faster. So when we did the survey, there was very interesting reflections. So I asked some of the scrum masters to share. I don't know whether it is visible or not, but I'll read it out. So some scrum masters, they give their point of view, what they see, what they hear, what their role is. So they say, I do sprint planning. And the team of developers, they said, we used to do it in waterfall. So we were given a very high level plan, but we used to do that sprint planning. So what is new in that? So then next thing is the people said that I resolve dependencies, I remove blockers. So people say that if you don't understand dependencies, if you don't understand this domain, if you don't understand the high level connections between the platforms, how will you remove the blockers? Right? Then another very interesting fact was that I facilitate daily Scrum sprint planning sessions. And developers and testers, they say, oh, it is waste of time. It is ceremonial. Every day we have to stand there, repeat the same stuff, even if we don't have anything. So, these are some of the examples that people shared. Some of them is just impression. Some people think, this is not the right way of doing things. Some people, they like it. That's why my point of view is that things are changing, things are evolving, people are learning. And I think if all of you are doing agile lead or scrum master role, it is very, very hard job for you to, embrace it so that people can understand what actually it means and what is the real benefit. So the work in front of you is very, very hard. It is not that easy. Now, I asked all my scrum masters after this feedback. It was, I think, 7-8 months ago when we did it. So I asked them that what exactly is the blocker in front of you, right? You help the team members with removing blockers, but what is the blocker in front of you? Why you can't, be more confident? Why you can, take the challenges head on? So they said it is chaos. It is, it is a huge organization. There are so many, downstreams, upstreams, connectivity, dependencies. How do we become agile? How do we do things faster? And it is the chaos. There are so many processes, governance meetings, financial management, this and that, so people are so confused. So we started working on it, and the mission was that we have to embrace this chaos, right? That's why, this evolution of agile is there. That's why people are learning so many different things, trying out different things, because the chaos is there. Moving on. Do you remember this picture? 2611. So it was very chaotic that day. You might remember in 2008, you remember that, that evening, I know the first thing I did was switch on the TV and watch the news, what is going on there. So in this chaos, there was a hotel staff in this, right? This picture is of Taj. So there were around 500 people working in Taj at that point of time. And there were around, I think, 1,800 guests at that point of time. When the terrorists, they, got into this building and started shooting people. So what happens when chaos happens, when, the fear takes over? What happens? Planning. Okay, yeah. What else? Come together, okay. So I think when fear takes over, we just, we try to get out of that situation, right? So I would imagine that all the staff, including guests, they would have, trying to find out where is the nearest exit and let us get out. But I read a very interesting article. It was from HBR. If you have not read it, go and read it. Very, very interesting. Somebody, Rohit Deshpande is the professor. He did the research on it, that what happened and how people tackled that situation. So in that research, he has described not even a single person, single staff left this building. They continued doing their job. Now, very interesting story is there. So there was a conference. It was not a conference. It was a get-together of Unilever. So board of directors were there. It was the farewell party of an outgoing CEO. So he was supposed to leave that evening, and there was party going on. All the CEOs and COs, CFOs, all those people were there in that conference room, just like this. And there was a trainee managing that event, trainee of Taj, 24-year-old. Malaika is her name. You can go and search. There are a lot of videos around her story. And when it happened, when she realized that something wrong has happened, so all the people from corporate world, they started challenging her. What is going on? Tell me the process. Show me, what process you are going to follow. In that situation, can you imagine people asking those questions? And she took the charge. She said, I'm your leader now, okay? You have to listen to me, what I'm going to say. The 24-year-old taking the charge, and she took, 2-3 minutes. First instruction she gave was that if there are any couples in the room, don't stay together. One should be in one corner, another one in another corner. Can it be more agile? It can't be. Within a couple of minutes, she thought about it. She planned it, that what will be my action, what I'm going to do in next 15 minutes. She planned, she coordinated, she communicated, and she replanned. Because every moment things were changing. So it is a very real example from a hospitality industry. When we are in chaos, we get best out of ourselves if we want. So this girl even added humor. So she said, if you can't hold your nerves, there is some alcohol in the room. Please help yourself. So wonderful story. You go and introspect that what she did and how we can apply these learnings into our job when there is chaos, how we can manage that chaos, how we can embrace it and still be successful. Now,
Very related story. Same day, a different organization. So this organization is most process oriented, most diligent, and disciplined. We can't compare any organization with Indian Army. But these people, they operate in chaos. When they face enemy, all the plans are thrown out. And there is no commander there when they are in combat situation. There is no commander. And all the team members, they know what to do. They know the decisions they can take. They don't go to the Jira and update. They don't go to the dependency log and update. They don't say that UAT environment is not available, I can't do much, right? So they operate in chaos, but they are very slow as well, right? When it comes to processes, when they operate in peacetime, very, very slow. So this is another example. These people landed in Mumbai, these NSG commandos, and there was a task given to them. That objective was there, that you have to save lives and kill terrorists. That was their mission. Now you use creativity, innovation, or whatever, right? It is up to you. So they formed 3 different teams. And let me tell you the situation. Their task was to go room by room. I think there are 400-500 rooms. Room by room, get into that room, search who is there, and there can be guest, there can be a terrorist, or there can be both. And you have to, safely take the guest out, kill the terrorist, and there is no, chance of error there. You can't kill a guest, right? So their task was very, very hard. It was very hard to achieve. But since they took over, I don't know if you remember or not, since they took over, not even a single casualty happened. Their officers died, 2 officers died. But no civilian got injured after that. So these people, they operate in chaos. They do planning on the fly. They take best out of the situation, and they become successful. And these people are our own people. They are not, guided by consultants, ENYs, Deloittes, right? So they have to operate there, use their experience, use their training, use their muscle memory. So we can learn a lot from them, right? So when I told the same stories to my team, and I asked them, what can we learn from them, right? What is one thing that we will learn from them? So I'm not going to cover each and everything that what they do in army, what they do in hospitality. If you have to learn what they do in army, contact Amit. He's here. He was in army. He was in Air Force. So you can find out what training they do and what processes they follow, how they train their people. But what was my take there and what I asked my team to implement, they were quite basic things. So let's get our basics right. So first thing is, we have to give a sense of purpose to our team. And this is human nature, right? If we don't have purpose, we get lost. We get bored, then either we quit or we try to find some change, try to, get some excitement in our life. So if we have a purpose, then we have clarity. We know what to do. And we can embrace the chaos as well. So when we start a project, so I asked each of my Scrum lead, my Agile lead, that when we start a project, each one of us will find the purpose. What is the purpose? So on purpose, let me build the story on top of that. So that event happened in Mumbai. After that, NSG came back. Now they were sharing their challenges, that why they were a little slow. It took them 3 days to check and call it off that everything is fine. It took them 3 days. So then Indian government, they started, a project. They said that, okay, we are going to build a database, intelligence database. That was called NIG, National Intelligence Grid. So there was one officer who was given charge that, okay, you will build this, grid. You will connect all the information from all the police stations, from all the states, from passport to everything, right? From all the maps of these buildings, because there was no map. When these people entered into Taj Hotel, there was no map given to them. Can you imagine? So then one officer was made in charge of the project that, okay, you go and implement this, and time was given